So let me just sit down, and we'll get started with our first guest. It's Brett Sappington, who's Director of Research for Parks Associates. So, Brett? Good to have you here, Brett.
Pleasure to be here, Alan.
How are you doing today?
I'm well.
Good. So, Parks Associates has done some studies about multi-screen video and what the awareness is of TV everywhere and some of the opportunities and challenges and some of the user profiles. Mm-hmm. We've all heard that consumer awareness of TV everywhere is low, lower than some people might expect. Can you tell us how low it is and why it is as low as it is?
You bet. As we talk to operators in different parts of the world, that's a question that we often get. Is many of them understand that the awareness is low, and so they ask us to help them figure out not only why is it low, but what do we do about it, and then who's watching. So through talking with them and through doing a number of consumer studies, we've found some interesting things about the people that watch it. So in terms of awareness, there we go. In the U.S. market, a year ago, at the beginning of 2012, awareness was hovering around 18%. It really had been like that for about 2 years. And over the course of 2012, it rose to about 26%. So a pretty significant increase, but really only a quarter of pay TV subscribers knew that they had TV everywhere from their current provider.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So there were a couple of reasons.
Yeah, why is it?
One of the reasons is, for many operators, they were just rolling out services. And so they really didn't want to go to market until they kind of knew that it was running. It's kind of a slow start for many. But for others, there was a problem of really very little announcement around it. Not a lot of hype, not a lot of advertising primarily, not a lot of promotion. I'd asked a number of them why they didn't promote it. One of the best quotes that I got was from an executive from DirecTV who said, "You know, Brett, if I have a 30-second commercial, I'm not going to go promote some free service. I'm going to go promote the service that's going to draw the greatest revenue back to my company." And so for that reason, they and many other operators decided not to heavily promote their TV Everywhere service. And then a third reason is more of a strategic decision. Some of them, in particular Verizon and a few others, have made the decision that they're going to target their multi-screen services only to those subscribers that they think will buy transactional video, and so will actually be able to monetize it that way. So it's more of a strategic decision.
Okay. Now, I've seen other studies indicating that maybe a quarter of consumers would be willing to pay for multi-screen video. Mm-hmm. Why aren't more service providers trying to monetize their multi-screen?
As multi-screen came to market, originally it was designed as a defense against over-the-top services.
Right.
And so in many cases, churn was the justifier. And what's happened is, as the content costs have really been felt in the industry, many are just now looking to the monetization side to try and understand how they're going to make money out of multi-screen.
Okay. So do you think this will change now?
It's definitely changing. In fact, this is a building full of people asking, how the heck am I going to make money on multi-screen?
Okay. You also did some profiles of users of TV Everywhere and how the profiles of TV Everywhere users compared with the average pay TV subscriber. What are some of the similarities and differences? You bet.
First of all, let me quantify. So in terms of usage, so we have 26% that are aware. Today, 15% of subscribers actually use TV Everywhere type services on a monthly basis. That's up from 11%, but that's really abysmally low.
So 26% are aware, but only a little bit more than half of them actually use it.
Correct. About 60% of those that are aware use it, which actually is pretty good. If you have anything that people are aware of and you get 60% use, that's pretty good. But as we've looked at who the TV Everywhere users are, we found a number of characteristics about them. First of all, in comparing TV Everywhere users with average subscribers, they tend to be slightly younger, about on average for household about 6 years younger, which means that you have more Generation X, Generation Y, millennials than you do boomers.
So folks in their 20s and 30s?
Probably mid-30s, whereas average subscriber households is around early 40s.
Okay.
Another big difference is kids at home. TV Everywhere users, half of those households have kids at home, whereas only a third of average subscribers have kids at home. And then another interesting area is devices in the home. TV Everywhere homes tend to have more mobile devices and greater usage of those devices. So they use smartphones and tablets to answer email and all sorts of other activities, whereas the average subscriber homes primarily revolve around the television and the desktop computer.
Right.
So a very different kind of world.
So what were you most surprised about there?
I think the thing that surprised me most was some of the things that were common, which if you look at the similarities, they were similar in gender, in marital status, in education, in home ownership, in number of people per family. So they would have kids, but the same number of kids.
Right.
The most surprising, though, is income level. The income level for TV Everywhere homes and average subscriber homes was really the same, and that was a bit surprising.
Which did you think was going to be higher?
I actually thought the TV Everywhere home was going to be a little higher.
That's what I would have expected.
Yeah, there were arguments both ways. One, that it might be lower because they wanted cheaper video, so they were going with over-the-top services, and they liked those. But it ends up that they're very, very similar in income level.
Did you look at their device usage too? Is a tablet becoming the second TV in this at home, or is it?
It is. The device is, and they're much more working with doing things in mobile. The other thing that we're seeing is looking specifically at operator services. TV Everywhere households much more likely to subscribe to premium services. So they're much more likely to take HD, premium sports channels, premium movie channels, DVR. Overall, their ARPU tends to be higher. So if you look at spending, first of all, it's video on demand. They're more likely to use both free and paid video on demand services. If we look at viewing, they actually watch a little less of the broadcast television and less of the DVR, but then they spend more time on DVDs, on-demand movies, pay-per-view, and over-the-top services. They also, in terms of spending, many of them have actually reduced the premium services that they have. Now understand, they still have more premium services.
They have more, but they spend less.
That's right. They have more. Well, no. They have more services, but at some point they've reduced some of those services.
Okay.
Overall, they still spend more than the average household on premium services. Okay. So essentially, they might have gotten rid of a movie channel and picked up Netflix or something like that. Their overall ARPU is higher per home, and remember, this is at the same income level.
Right.
So essentially, these homes love video. They love it. They love it on any source that they can get it. They spend more on video, DVD rentals, Blu-ray rentals, video downloads, movie theater tickets. So the spending overall, these are people that just love video, and so that's really what they value and what they're willing to spend more on.
So are these cable's best customers, basically?
In essence, they really are, because they have the higher ARPU. They love video from any source. And one of the things that cable provides is it provides a lot of content, and it provides it in a fairly easy to access format on linear TV. Okay. And one of the things we've seen, the TV Everywhere customers are actually no more likely to cancel cable TV service than average subscribers. So just because they love over the top, they're not ready to just cut it off.
So these are not potential cord cutters necessarily.
Well, I mean, everybody's a potential cord cutter.
Right. Okay.
But no, they're no more likely to cord cut than any other subscriber.
Okay. Any other surprises from this study?
No, those are really the big takeaways. We do find that they're the most lucrative customers for cable. Interestingly, one of the things we see is that by adding multi-screen services, a lot of times, even though those services are free, we're seeing a lot of spillover of spending into video on demand, into HD services, pay-per-view, other things. So while TV Everywhere itself may not be monetized in some way, a lot of that spending is going into other areas for the operator. And then finally, we're seeing a pretty significant shift to mobile. So more and more consumers are moving mobile. TV Everywhere users want mobile, and so the mobile side of multi-screen is becoming critical.
Okay, we don't have a lot more time to do this, but one last question: given all this data, what does it mean for cable? What should cable operators be doing?
Well, for cable operators, clearly monetization is important, but the important part here is to create an experience that allows consumers to connect to content quickly and to do it on any device they want. If you look at the history of television, originally from broadcast, cable came along and it allowed people to get TV in places you couldn't get broadcast TV.
Right.
And so in a very similar way, now multi-screen is allowing consumers to get content in places and in ways they couldn't have gotten it before.
So it's the cable of the decade.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
Great.
Thanks, Brett.
Absolutely. Glad to be here,
your time.
Alan.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.